Hello, 7th grade. This is Mr. Ferris coming to you with another video lesson for you. And this lesson is going to be about the immune system, which is a very timely lesson considering we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I guess we could be thankful for the coincidental timing on that. I want you to picture with me for a moment that we are all at Covenant Christian Academy in my classroom right now. It's all 19 or so of us just sitting in the room. And then I want you to picture all the squirrels in the world outside of the school. And then you're going to use your imagination here. I want you to picture that all of the squirrels in the world suddenly are reprogrammed, and their main goal is to come and attack us at the school. So all of the world's squirrels they start charging towards the school, and we have to figure out a way to defend the school. So just picture that. Millions and millions of squirrels from all around the world coming to attack us. And our mission then is to defend ourselves. We have to protect ourselves against all these squirrels that are going to come and try to kill us. So if we were at the school, I'd be asking you, what should we do? What would our preventative measures be? How would we protect ourselves from these vicious squirrels? And some of the responses I would expect that you would give would be, first off, let's make sure all the doors are closed. There's no entrances into the school. Let's make sure that everything's barricaded. We're not going to let them get into the school, because as long as we can keep them outside the school and we can keep us on the inside of the school, we should be pretty safe. But, squirrels are pretty, they're able to get into tight spaces, and they might find a way into the school. And so what we have to do then is find a way such that once they're in the school, we can defend ourselves against them. So maybe I would, give all the boys, a baseball bat, and put them at all the places where a squirrel might get in, and then if a squirrel gets in, they can take care of it, and we'd find some way to defend ourselves that way. And maybe also we could have the girls, not the squirrels, the girls studying the squirrels, doing research and trying to figure out what their weaknesses are, or where they're getting in, and figuring out how to really specialize our defense against different kinds of squirrels. Because there's flying squirrels, there's red squirrels, ground squirrels, fox squirrels, gray squirrels. There's a lot of squirrels out there. And maybe we need different defense measures for the different kinds of squirrels. So maybe we'd set some of us on that mission to study them and learn their ways. So this is just a fun exercise, and as you may have guessed, this relates to the immune system. So our body is constantly surrounded by pathogens at any given moment. Now, pathogens are basically germs. They are disease-causing agents. They are things that want to get inside of you and that your body doesn't want inside of you. They can come in the form of bacteria, or in the current pandemic, we have a virus that is going around. They can be in the form of fungus, or even little parasites, things that get in your blood and hang out in there. So there's all sorts of different kinds of pathogens, and the immune system is designed to prevent pathogens from living inside of you. Because they can do harm to your body, and our bodies don't like that. So God gave us this immune system to help defend the body. Now, our body, just like in the squirrel apocalypse analogy, our body has several lines of defense. The first thing that we did to protect ourselves from the squirrels was to close all the doors, make sure everything's locked, try to make the school as squirrel tight as possible so that he can't get in. And that is our first line of defense for our bodies as well. We have skin that will keep just about anything out of our system. It keeps germs and water and all sorts of other good stuff. We'll have a lesson on the integumentary system another time. The integumentary system is just your skin, your hair, your fingernails, everything on the outside of your body. And while the skin is perhaps the primary way of keeping things outside of our bodies, we also have tears, things to get in through your eyes, and you can kind of cry, and the enzymes in your tears can help get rid of all the germs that would get in that way. So you have your integumentary system as one of your first lines of defense. But germs will also try and get in through your respiratory system. And as we talked about when we studied the respiratory system, you have little hairs inside your nose called cilia, and you have mucus, which, those things trap dust particles and germs, and they keep them from really getting in you. Another way that pathogens would like to enter your body is through your digestive system. But we even have a first line of defense there, because if a germ kind of makes its way into your stomach, the acid down there and the different enzymes and maybe even the saliva on the way down would would serve to kill it. So there are some that can still get in. There's certain types of bacteria and such that if you eat, rotten meat or whatever, it'll get you sick. But for most germs, our digestive fluids can actually, just digest them, and then we don't have to worry about them getting into us. So this is the first line of defense. But as we all know, we still do get sick. Sometimes those pathogens make their way beyond these initial preventative measures. So sometimes the squirrels make their way into the school, and then we have to have a different sort of response in order to take care of them. And that is where the immune system comes in. The immune system is your body's way of fighting pathogens that make it past the first line of defense. I think some of the words are a little hidden here. So the immune system is your body's way of dealing with foreign materials that manage to get past your first line of defense. Let's see. Get back on the slideshow here. Yeah, okay. So, your immune system works in several different ways, and one of the primary ways we're going to be talking about is with white blood cells. If you remember from your microscope activity when you looked at the blood smear, it was mostly red blood cells that you saw, but you saw some of these other funny little blobs in there that looked kind of purplish, and they were white blood cells. And part of the assignment was also to even look for different kinds of white blood cells. We're not going to go into details about all the different types, but there are 5 main types of white blood cells. And they are designed to destroy foreign organisms. So something makes its way into your body. They're like little soldiers that go around and guard your body against anything that's not supposed to be there. Now, we're going to talk more about these later, but I wanted to give you at least a brief introduction to white blood cells, let you know that they are important and that they fight pathogens that get inside your body. And we're actually going to get a bonus body system today. We're going to talk just very briefly about the lymphatic system. It connects to both the immune system and the circulatory system. So the lymphatic system, if you've ever heard about your lymph nodes and lymph vessels and things like that, it's kind of like a circulatory system, but it doesn't transport blood. It transports this fluid called lymph. Now, lymph is fluid that's left behind by your circulatory system. And so the lymphatic system's purpose is to collect all that fluid and to get it back into the circulatory system where it's supposed to go. That's its main purpose. And so if you were to look at a diagram of it in the body, you'd see vessels kind of like you would see veins and arteries, but there are these lymph vessels that have these nodes along them, these little bumpy parts. And it transports lymph back to the veins and arteries. But they also help with the immune system. They can hold and transport antibodies and white blood cells, so white blood cells can kind of travel through your lymphatic system. And so this is about all that we're going to talk about the lymphatic system. There's a whole lot more that we could talk about with it, but it is one of the lesser known of the body systems. We tend to think of digestive system or immune system or respiratory system rather than the lymphatic system, but it's still there and it's good for you to know about. Okay, so your immune system will respond to foreign bodies that get inside you, so pathogens when they get inside you. And one of those main ways of response is what we see when we get sick. Usually the symptoms of illness are not the disease itself, but it's your body responding to the disease. So say you come down with influenza, you get the flu. You might get an elevated temperature and start to feel kind of not so great, and you might think that's the flu doing that to you. And it's not actually the flu that's doing that to you, it's your body changing the conditions of your body so that it can more effectively fight the flu. So it raises your temperature, and then it can better attack the flu virus then. Coughing and runny noses for if you get a cold, those are common symptoms of other diseases, and that's trying to get some of that stuff out of your body and get your body healthier sooner. Now, your body has, you can break the kinds of responses your body has to a pathogen into 2 different categories. We have non-specific response, and we have a specific response. Now, a non-specific response is really just a general way of your body attacking whatever might come in. So this is just kind of a one-size-fits-all attack to whatever pathogen comes in. It's not tailored to a specific type of germ. It's just a very general, this is how we're going to take care of it, a wide variety of germs. So it's I said, it's a general reaction to the foreign material that gets in your body, and one of the most common ways you see this is inflammation. Now that's where, say you get stung by a bee, and your hand starts getting all red and swells up, and it starts to feel hot. You can almost feel it throbbing, maybe. That's inflammation. That's a very common general response. Your body is just kind of changing conditions right around that area so that when white blood cells come in and such, it can fight whatever the foreign material is more effectively. Now, one chemical that you should know is called histamine. Now, histamine is a chemical that is released, and it's actually often associated with, say, allergic reactions, which is why Benadryl or some other drugs you might take for an allergic reaction have what's called antihistamine in them. So histamine is something that's it's released by your body, and it causes this inflammation, this swelling and redness and heat. And so it's actually a good thing. It helps your body to fight anything that might be getting into it. The bad part about histamine is when you get too much of it, and you start swelling up to the point where maybe you can't breathe, or something else bad happens, and that's where you might want to take an antihistamine drug, because an antihistamine will kind of combat the effects of the histamine, and like the word says, antihistamine, so it'll kind of go against it there.